Very good. Are we good? Can you see the presentation, Gary?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, good evening. Thank you so much all for coming to our meeting today. We're glad to have you. My name is Paola Mendoza, and I am an associate engineer with the Public Works Department at the City of Boynton Beach. We have also Gary Donmeyer. He is the city engineer, and he'll be speaking to you guys and presenting himself here in a minute. But just today, we just really wanted to take a minute to share with you the design concept that we have for the project. So, you know, take a note that this project is not by any means finalized. It's very much in its concept design stage. So we're here to share with you and get your feedback, get whatever questions you may have answered, and make any changes to the project if need be. So please keep that in mind as we go through the presentation. All right, so here, what's happening?
And Paula, I'm just going to interrupt just for a brief second there. One of the main reasons we're having this meeting too is we're going to use this project and apply for a grant through Palm Beach County's Transportation Planning Authority. And so input from the public is, it benefits the city and also helps on our scoring. So Mr. Markovich, your and your wife's participation will be very helpful in us developing this project further as we submit for a grant.
Correct.
Go ahead.
Yeah, correct. So the city of Boynton Beach has actually contracted Baston and Woodman. They are our design consultants to create 30% concept plans for the project so that we could use them to apply for a grant with the TPA. That's the Palm Beach County Transportation Planning Agency. Okay, so just very briefly, I wanted to go over the project limits and the scope. So as we can see here on the screen, the section of road for the city actually is sandwiched between two county roads right-of-ways. And our project will start just north of Northwest Commerce Park Drive and go all the way north just to south of the intersection with Minor Road. Okay, our project is a complete streets project. So what does a complete streets project mean? So a complete street project is a project that is designed to operate and enable any user. It doesn't matter what their abilities are, or even if they're driving a car, walking, or using the bicycle. Any one of these abilities or users are able to use the road comfortably. Okay, and so the project scope will consist of widening of the section of the road that is a 2-lane road to a 4-lane road. We also looking to improve the safety of the road by improving the access management. That's the way that people come in and come out of their buildings and businesses and homes. And also we're gonna provide 2 shared use paths on both sides of the street. And these are just wide sidewalks that are used for pedestrians and bicycles. So hopefully by taking these 2 people out of the road, we're gonna improve their safety quite a bit. And lastly, we also wanna provide better access for these businesses, the homes, and also the people that use the Tri-Rail station. Because as we know, right there on Northwest Commerce is the entrance to the Tri-Rail station. So we're keeping all the users in mind. All right, so why do we need the project? How did the project came about? Well, the city realizes there's heavy traffic along the road. There's a lot of traffic jams. There's a lot of users. There's a lot of people driving the road. So we took that into consideration. We know we needed to improve that. Also, we realized as we started looking into the project that there is a high rate of crashes also on the road. So that really provided even more a desire to improve. And lastly, we were really wanting to make the road safer for pedestrians and bicycles and people using transit. Again, you know, the long-term goals is for more people to move not only in cars, but also using transit, using bicycles and walking. We all understand that exercising it's just a very good thing for everybody, but the road may not be as safe as we wanted it to be for those users. So those are the reasons that, you know, we took into consideration when coming up with the project. All right, so a little bit of information about the crash history, all those accidents that I was just talking to you about. So as you can see in the slide, the majority of the accidents, almost 43% of them, are angle accidents, meaning that two cars came to into contact while making some kind of turn in and out, or, you know, in any kind of direction. We also see that a lot of them are rear-ended accidents, all kinds of other accidents, head-on accidents. So in this short span of 6 years, I'm going to show you now, there has been actually 14 accidents, very, very short span of the road, a lot of accidents. And the worst thing is that we actually have seen fatalities. So there has been people that have died on this road, and that's very, very alarming. And we want to make sure that we do whatever it takes to make people be safe on the road. We see that there's also has been 2 incapacitating injuries, meaning that people got really hurt and couldn't return to work, and they really hurt in an accident. Some other more minor accidents, and just also accidents that, you know, just kind of cause damage to the cars. But even those are very important to us, and we want to make sure that we correct them. Okay, so just a few things about the crashes. We know that fatal crash occurred at High Ridge and the Commerce Park Drive intersection. So that's an intersection that we really want to look at, and we have. The incapacitated injuries happen also at Commerce Park and Northwest 25th Ave. So that's another intersection we're looking at closely. And lastly, and something that we also are looking to improve in the road, is the actual lighting of the road, because all these accidents happen in the nighttime. So we want to make sure that the roads are well lit and safer for all pedestrians, bicycles, and drivers, because obviously they're also getting hurt on the road. So now I'm gonna turn it over to Gary, the city engineer, to talk to us a little bit about the proposed improvements that we wanna come up with for the project. So I go ahead and hand it over, Gary.
So right now we have a crossing that's located at Canterbury Trails. And so that crossing it's on a hill, it's on a turn lane, it's on a curve, and it's got a lot of trees that shield it. So there's a lot of negatives about that crosswalk. And so one of the things we're going to be doing, or proposing to doing with this project, is relocating this crosswalk a little bit. We're trying to move it a little bit further down, or further north. And in another slide or so, we'll see where we're moving it. And we have an interesting little video that'll allow you to see how it works. But we're proposing basically one of 2 solutions. We will have a refuge island, which will help pedestrians cross the road and make it, add a safety feature. But then we're also going to have these flashing beacons. We'll see how those work in the next slide. But so what I want you to do, Mr. Markovich and Mr. Harris, and Ted, I need you guys to kind of think about these next few slides and kind of give me some feedback about what you think would make this intersection a little more safe, or this crossing a little more safer. So if we go to the next slide, I think we have that video there, right, Paula?
Yes, we do.
All right. And it's only a 30-second video, but it'll demonstrate how this is going to work and where it's going to be located. And yay, the technology is working. Just like we planned. And so here you see us approaching Canterbury, and this is where the new crossing would be. So instead of on the south side of the intersection, it's on the north side. And notice the flashing lights and how they really shine, and they let the drivers know that somebody's in the crosswalk. And so that's just a representation of how it's going to look post-design. But the other option that I needed you guys to provide some feedback on is on this next slide. So Pal, if you'll go to the next slide, please. Okay, so this is the other thing that we were proposing. It was either the flashing beacons, or we would go to something like this where there was overhead, like not like a stoplight per se at an intersection, but the alerts would be on a mounted post that would lean over the roadway. The difference between what we've shown here and the other photo with the median would still be in it, but I just wanted to point out the safety feature. I couldn't find a image that showed what I wanted with the median in it, so we kind of copied this from another place. And so this one's called a hybrid beacon. And again, the difference would be instead of just flashing posts in the median and on the side of the road, you'd have something overhanging it, and motorists would be used to seeing this type of stoplight. It's a different configuration for a stoplight. Instead of having red, yellow, and green all in a row on top to bottom, you've got something that's more like a railroad flashing sign. So like the top two in this configuration, if you see right there in the center of your screen, the two lights on the top are red and they flash left and right red, and then the one at the bottom flashes yellow. And so what happens is when pedestrians are getting ready to cross, the one at the bottom flashes yellow, and then as pedestrians are in the crosswalk, it flashes, it flashes like the cross bucks on a railroad stop. The two yellow or the two red, blink alternately. So towards the end, we'll talk to you a little bit and see what your all's preferences are, but I just wanted to take a second to show you that. The next slide is what I really want to get into, is showing you what the roads are going to look like. Here, I've got the road chopped into 4 pieces. We're going to be looking at the first 2 pieces because they fit on the same page. Unfortunately, looking at this particular view, you're not allowed, it doesn't enable you to see what's going on at the individual intersections. So the slides that are going to be right after this are going to show the intersections and an AutoCAD type drawing. It'll show you how they actually look. You'll be able to see the before and the proposed conditions. And obviously we'll be looking for input for how these intersections affect you. On the very left side of the screen, you'll see the little boxes that indicate where we're looking on the road. So on this very top slide, obviously this is tying, well, it's not obvious, but it's tying in right just to the south side of that Publix shopping center pull in. So it's going to be a little bit south of Canterbury, the Canterbury entrance. And then if, as you go south, I think that's that's that one, I think it's a farm business that's on the south side of the road. It's the one where the FedEx box is right next to the road. And so that's what it looks like. And so basically you'll notice here that, you've got a U-turn lane right in the middle on this top screen. And then as you approach Canterbury, there to the right side of the top part of the screen, you'll see how there's it's a little bit different. We're pulling the trees out of the median. We're going to be putting in some smaller trees. These smaller trees will help help motorists be able to see everything that's happening. They'll be able to see cars coming, in the opposite direction. They'll be able to see. They'll just have a better view of the road. And mind you, this is the part of the road where you've got a curve and there's a hill, and so this basically it takes the crosswalk out of the turn lane that pulls into the north or into the west side of Canterbury. And then as we go to the transition to the bottom half of this slide, this is it still shows Canterbury on the left, and then as you progress to the right, you're heading north, and so this starts getting you to where the road straightens up. That marked design is on the south side or on the bottom side of the photo, and as you continue to go north, you're starting to pull into the Commerce Center on the north and the 3000 building on the south, and then the 310 or the 320 building that's on the south there. So let's go to the next slide, and then you'll be able to see specifically what's happening at each one of these intersections. So this project that we're proposing starts right there on the north side of Publix. North is right there in the center. You can see the access to Commerce that'll take you down to the Tri-Rail. So basically, the roads kind of matches, but this is where it starts to change, right? So we're providing a longer turn lane so people can make a left into Tri-Rail. So what we're predicting is there's going to be more ridership, and so there's going to be more traffic getting to Tri-Rail. And so they're going to need a longer traffic queue. And so we've given them a little longer turn lane there. And so one of the things that happens here is, as we get further north, people are going to be asked to make a U-turn. So let's remember here that we've got a U-turn. So if people need to head north, this is where they're going to be able to head north on. Okay. And we're going to go to the next slide. Okay. So here we are. So here's Canterbury. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is where the Markoviches are living, right? You're tuning in because you're interested about Canterbury? No. Okay. Well, then never mind. So you can see the turn lane. You can see how we've moved the turn lane from the south to the north, because north's to the right side of the page. And so, so basically the turn lane hasn't changed much here, but what's happening at this point, instead of transitioning back down to 2 lanes to a 2-lane road, we're going to continue 4 lanes all the way through. So with continuing with 4 lanes, you'll see that, we've now got a median in the center that'll help keep the traffic separated. The one thing I haven't done a very good job of pointing out is, we're still having sidewalks on both sides of the road. We're anticipating that with the future, we got residential, we got a lot more people, more foot traffic. We call this particular area our brewery district. We're hoping that, that continues to grow and more people will travel by foot so they can visit the breweries that are in the area. And so, so as we go to the next slide, we're moving further north on the road. And this is where we're going to start impacting more of the commercial businesses. And so here, you'll notice to the left or the south side of the screen that we've got a median. And on the west side of the road, that's the Commerce Center. So this particular exit, you're no longer going to be able to make a northbound turn out of the center from that exit. If you have a delivery and he turns and he needs to go north and that's the exit he came out of, you'll remember on the previous slide, we've got a U-turn. So there is a spot for them to go just a little bit south to make a U-turn so they can continue to head north. On the next slide, but I don't want to go to the next slide yet. On the next slide, you'll see that on the center or on the secondary access, the main entrance to the Commerce Center that's on the west side of the road, they have the option to go north and south out of the that establishment. But by adding this median here and stopping traffic from heading north out of the secondary egress, it helps traffic flow considerably. And so that's one of the things we did here. And now if we look on the bottom side of the screen, there's the 3000 High Ridge Center. And so there, again, we're not going to be able to make a left out. We'll be able to make a right out that heads north. And for anybody in that business center that's concerned about that, I understand your concern. But if you are patient with me and for just a little while longer, you'll see that we have a roundabout. So while initially you won't be able to head south, there is an easy maneuver you'll be able to make to head south, and it won't require any 3-point turns, and it won't require slowing down traffic. And so it'll just better function to serve the motorists that are on that road, whether they're vehicle or pedestrian. And so also on the south side of the road, we're starting to get into the 3020, which is that other commercial building that's on the east side of the road. And then as we go to the next slide, and you can go to the next slide now, Paula, we'll start getting into what the north part of this road looks like, where we're tying into Minor Road. And then this is where Ted's going to be interested in what's going on. So you can see how we're losing the median for this part of the road. This is a straight shot basically to Minor Road. The median is taken out here simply because we have a lot of business going on in this area. And so there's a lot of traffic queuing up to make a left and a right. And as those of you who work and live in the area, you know that when somebody's trying to make a left, they're having to make a left sometimes from the lane of traffic, and it slows down traffic. So with this new configuration, there's going to be more room for them in the middle lane, and we'll be able to pull everybody out of the lane while they wait for breaks in traffic so they can continue on to their destination. So here's Industrial Way in the top of the center screen, and you'll see that the Commerce Center on the north or on the west side will be able to turn in and out left and right, and then the same thing for you, Ted. People will be able to leave your area and go north or south from where they normally work. Then if we go to the south half, this is what I really think everybody's going to be excited to see. In 2023, the county's proposing to be building a roundabout on Minor Road. And so tentatively, this is what they think that roundabout's going to look like. And so the nice thing about this roundabout is for anybody that is stuck having to go north to head south, this roundabout is going to make it really easy for them to make that maneuver. And I don't know if most of us haven't necessarily seen roundabouts, but for those of us who have seen them, they're I wouldn't say they're an engineering marvel, but what they certainly do is function really well, and they keep traffic moving, and they're way better than a stopped intersection. And so if you haven't seen a roundabout, I can give you some locations where you can travel within the county to experience some of them, and we can talk about that in a little bit. The next slide is going to start showing you more direct impacts. So where we left off from our original drawings, we were looking just to the south side of the Commerce Center that's on the west side of the road, and we're looking now at their main entrance, and we're looking at Ted's main entrance into the industrial way. And so you can see here, you got a full access, so everybody can make a left and a right, in and out. So at this intersection, it's not a dramatic impact for the vehicles that'll be using it. And then if we go to the next slide, the only thing that there's probably no difference here for the next slide either, because the people impacted, like the Sherman Williams, the due south. Go ahead and continue, Paula. There we go. So here we are. This is the Sherman Williams building, and due south, there's the Boynton marbles in there. Basically, they can make a left, or they can make a right out, and they can make a right in. If they need to head south, they'll just have to go around the roundabout. But basically their access is unimpeded as far as people can pretty much still get into them the way they've been doing. And in fact, this will probably improve access for the business that's on the east side of the road. I've seen many times that people are pulling in the exit only on that particular drive. And so now we're gonna have a little bit of a median that'll stop that movement. But you can see the roundabout that Palm Beach County is proposing. And mind you, the roundabout is not a part of the city's project. It's just we're connecting to that roundabout. Okay. And so I think that takes us to our final slide. And yep. I think Paula wants to talk about this.
All right, sure. So as we talked about, your input is extremely important. I know that we had a smaller pool of people today in our presentation, but we would really appreciate it if you that live in the area, if you have any neighbors or anybody, please send them over to our website. Actually, the website in this slide is wrong. I apologize about that. I will correct it, and the actual correct website is on our website. If you go to City of Boynton Beach and you look for High Ridge, you will get to it. I will make sure that we correct this as part of this presentation. You do have the right address to the website in the paper that actually brought you to this meeting. So I apologize about that. I should have changed it and it really slipped me. So anyway, you could go to our project website, and in there, you will be able to see more details about the project and how you could also send our input for the project. There is a comment area there. You could upload pictures of whatever you may want. You also are more than welcome to email me or mail me anything that you may want. If you have any comments that you would like to put in writing, you could email me to the email in there, but also you could put the comment in the website, and I actually get those comments. And then also lastly, our contact information is here. I am Paola Mendoza again. Dennis is our consultant. Their information are on there as well. But at this point, we conclude our presentation. I'm gonna go ahead and unmute everybody here so that we could get anybody's feedback. If you have any, please go ahead and unmute yourselves. If you choose to, and while you provide any feedback, I'm gonna change the email, the actual address here to the website. So does anybody have any questions that we may?
I have a question.
Go ahead, sir.
Sure.
Okay, we're on Northwest Commerce Park Drive, and although you're calling this part of that, you're really not affecting Commerce Park Drive any, are you?
No.
Because Commerce Park Drive goes up to industrial goes out to High Ridge Road, and you're really talking High Ridge Road, it looks like, from just about Gateway all the way up to Minor Road.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
We have another project that'll be starting directly that'll impact you in real time, because we're in the process of installing some drainage and repairing an industrial way. So that you'll probably start to feel an impact on in the next, I would say probably the next 6 months. So that'll be up and coming. It's not going to change the configuration of that road dramatically.
Yeah, and my only comment about the roundabout, is that going to be maneuverable for tractor trailers? Because we get a lot of tractor trailers in the area and they usually need more room. Also looks like it's a very costly thing because it takes up so much land and all, but if that, makes sense, then I guess that's progress for you.
Yeah. Well, Palm Beach County, just so you know, they're going to be widening Minor Road probably in the next 10 years. And so this is all in advance of that need. Demand's going to, riderships, they're going to extend Minor Road through to Military too. And I think that's slated for 2040. So this is kind of in preparation for that. But in the meantime, I mean, it's got heavy usage now, and it's honestly, it's starting to reach the end of its useful life. You noticed all the potholes, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yes.
Well, that sounds good to me.
Great.
Did you have any thoughts on the road crossing there? Because remember we talked about the different kind of flashing lights, whether it was going to be like an overheaded traffic light beacon or whether it was going to be the flashing. Did you have a preference of what you'd like to see there, or no opinion?
Not really, as long as it's a safety feature, so everybody knows what's going to happen and nobody gets run over, just whatever works best, I guess.
Okay.
I don't have any preference either way.
Thank you.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. Is anybody else have any thoughts, any comments?
Ted, any comments?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Ted, if you don't want to talk now, I know you've got my phone number, so feel free to call me about this tomorrow or just at your convenience. Sure.
Well, we're most likely gonna be reaching out to the community again and hopefully getting more people involved. The presentation is recorded and it's gonna be available on our city website. Now you can see the correct website there. So please feel free to share with your neighbors, anybody that you know around. And we really do want your feedback. It's very, very important for us to have that feedback for what we're trying to do with the grant. So with that, I think we conclude our presentation if nobody else has any questions. And again, thank you so much for coming. And
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ted just sent me a text saying that he's having trouble with his microphone, and we'll talk.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. It's great to know that. Okay, so you'll have a great evening. Thank you, Josh, for joining us.
Thank you, Josh.
You'll take care. Thank you.